Yeah, I woke up today and was like, I just feel like looking good today, so I decided to throw on the Vault-Tec Christmas sweater. Anyway, IGN posted a very interesting article that I think a lot of you guys wanted me to respond to, and it says that Fallout 4 should be the last Fallout game, which is an article by Jared Petty. Now, before I dive into anything, there's a video for this on IGN's channel, which is essentially the editorial that was posted on their website. Also, I'd like to clarify that I have nothing against Jared. I actually feel like he's one of those guys in the industry that I would trust out of the few I can probably count on like one hand, so this is no hate to Jared whatsoever. Last thing, this is his opinion, and I know a lot of people are shitting on him for his opinion, but it says clearly, opinion, Fallout 4 should be the last Fallout game. So if you have a problem with his opinion, kindly express your disagreement. It's not a big deal, and he's not gonna lose sleep over it, but you don't have to threaten the guy and shit because he has thoughts on it and say, fuck IGN, they should just stop everything they do. I'm not trying to white knight it here because I have my problems with the big games press. I used to want to be a part of them, now I don't want anything to do with them, but still, ladies and gentlemen, it's an opinion and one you should respect. But still, as I said on Twitter, a lot of you guys were like, what do you think about this? And so I have to totally admit, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually a thought that's crossed my mind. Would this be the last Fallout game? Because Fallout 4 was such a highly anticipated game with a ton of hype behind it. And I started to think to myself, But I want to start off with a little comparison as to why I don't think Fallout 4 will be the last Fallout game. Now, I know a lot of people on this channel don't play JRPGs, but please, for the love of God, just hear me out. I look at Persona, for example, which was essentially just a recluse favorite to a specific fan base, and now is a widespread phenomenon, and everyone can't wait for Persona 5. And that was because of Persona 4, which was easily accessible, but still a deep game that everyone who played it, for the most part, had fun with it. I look at Fallout 4 as that, where everyone was so excited for this game that almost that excitement was contagious, and people were like, well, I want to be excited about that game, and they got on the hype train, they learned why people love Fallout, they got into the older Fallout games, and that's what I did for Persona. I played Persona 4, was like, this is fantastic, and went back and played all the other Persona games along with the arena games. And that's what happened, is everyone started falling in love with the universe and hopping in, and now Fallout is bigger than it ever has been before. And that's the main reason why I don't think that this will be the last Fallout game, because now it's just too big for them to stop here when everyone's on board with Fallout. Fallout 3, you could argue, could have been the last one because it was still mainly Fallout fans, but it got popularized to a general degree where a good amount of gamers came in and played this game. But now Fallout 4 selling millions upon millions upon millions of copies, beating out Dota 2 on day one, where people were playing that more than Dota 2, which is insane. But don't worry, Jared made some good points in this article saying that from a business sense, it does make sense that you should make another Fallout game, and that's why I'm kind of going with that. He also acknowledges one thing that's entirely true though. He states that Bethesda should take that creative energy, because in Fallout 4 it shows that Bethesda isn't short of good ideas and that maybe applied to something new and original. And he used an example that I thought was brilliant, where BioWare took their D&D roots and applied it to KOTOR, which is my favorite game of all time upon anything else, and Mass Effect, which is another favorite series of mine. And I thought to myself that, you know what, that's a great comparison, because those risks there that BioWare took paid off immensely, because it created my favorite game ever and another favorite game franchise of mine. Now, what if Bethesda went out there and made their own new original thing, such as the Elder Scrolls, where that's their original thing, but how about a new one? But then one thing that I feel this article didn't consider is that Bethesda is a really small team. Only about 100 or so people. There's absolutely no way Bethesda could take on a third IP unless they expand. And I highly doubt they're going to start expanding anytime soon, because they said the reason Fallout 4 happened is because they were able to trust each other, they had great chemistry, and they were able to just say, you do this, you do this, you do this, okay, job's done, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And that's rare in game studios nowadays, especially when you got thousands of people working on projects. You look at every Assassin's Creed, there's like 50 other fucking studios around the world working on it, and they all have all these different tasks. So I can't really possibly imagine Bethesda taking on another IP unless they hand out another one somewhere else. And obviously the only option I could think of is handing off Fallout to Obsidian, but that would mean Fallout would live on, so it kind of doesn't make sense that Bethesda would go on to create another original IP, because Fallout wouldn't be the last Fallout. But I thought it was honestly an interesting thought that maybe Fallout 4 could be the last one, because for most of us gamers, myself included, it would be the game leaving on a high note and saying, this is it, this is our last hurrah. It's also worth mentioning though that there's only been 3 Fallout games since Bethesda acquired the Fallout IP, and they've only developed 2 of them. So I personally feel that perhaps there should be at least one more. Also, I think about it a little bit more in depth, and when you include DLC and everything, I feel like there has to be another Fallout game because there's just too much opportunity in the sense of what happens in all these other locations around the Fallout franchise that everyone wants to go to and explore and learn more about. Lore is one of the most important things in the Fallout franchise, and there's just so much left to be explored that there has to be more Fallout games for people to feel complete, like, okay, there is enough. I have no doubt in my mind that at some point in time the Fallout franchise will come to a close because there are only so many locations around the world, but there's just still so much left to explore, so much left to bring to life and show what happened after the Great War in this franchise, and that's why I feel mainly this game should not die out. And you can tell Jared is being sincere in this because he says that Fallout 4 is one of my favorite games in years and the most fun I've had with the Fallout franchise ever. Like, he's speaking as a fan like us, so he really shouldn't be receiving so much shit for just kindly expressing his thoughts as a fan of the franchise like you. But I don't know, man, it's just hard to let go of the franchise as well. I think to myself, I'd like to see Obsidian work on another, I'd like to see Bethesda get another, and then it kind of gets into this addictive trend. It's also worth considering that even though Fallout 4 is a sequel, that this is a franchise that isn't being wrung dry, and it easily could be. Every year there could be a new Fallout game in a new setting, kind of like Assassin's Creed, where it's just like the same addictive formula in a new setting. And so that's why I really appreciate Fallout and Bethesda, that they're not treating this license like shit, and he goes on to mention that in the article as well. But regardless, those are my thoughts on this article. A lot of you guys wanted me to respond to it. I feel that there should be more Fallout games, but the series will come to a conclusion at some point down the line, inevitably, just because there are only so many locations that will pique everyone's interest, but I think that's going to be pretty far down the line. You also have to include DLC in, because each DLC usually brings you to a new location in the game, aside from Broken Steel, for example, so there's also that. But I'd love to know what you guys think on this topic in the comments down below. Please kindly express your thoughts to myself as well as Jared. He is a fan just like us, and you guys are going to probably kindly express your opinion to me, so just because he's a part of IGN doesn't mean that you can't do the same for him. I'd really appreciate it, guys. Anyways, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, links are down below. Other than that, stay sexy, stay active, I love you all, peace.